Capital Improvement Project second quarter report for fiscal year 2014.
Okay, and it looks like Mr. Kelly is here to give us our report.
Mayor Pro Tem Murillo, good afternoon. I'm pleased to be here today to give you a snapshot of the city's capital program, which involves most all city funds and city departments. As a snapshot, not all the work is described, however, in the capital program. It is intended, however, to give you a good idea of the scale and scope of the work within the city's capital program and the city's infrastructure. I'll be talking about completed projects in progress, and then also design status. The Council General Report summarizes the work in the first and second quarters. 5 projects were completed in the first quarter with a value of over $24 million. The Cater Water Treatment Plant ozone project itself was over 21. Attachment 1 in the Council General Report shows the 5 projects having notices of completion filed in the second quarter. Their value or total project cost was over $8.7 million. So you can see it as a wide variety of projects we'll be talking about. This map shows, if you can see it, it's a large scale, that there are 10 locations of the projects in the first 2 quarters, and you can see it's spread throughout the city. This is a significant pavement maintenance project, as well as here, this is the Fish Passage project I'll be talking about later. This pavement maintenance project consisted of pavement crack sealing, survey sealing, a rejuvenating cape seal, and traffic striping of various roads throughout the city. You can see the difference between before and after. This completed project consisted of pavement rehabilitation at the airport of taxiways H, J, and C, which primarily serves general aviation aircraft. The taxiways had major maintenance in the last 10 to 15 years and were in poor condition. The pavement rehab included complete reconstruction in some locations and grinding and overlay in others. This is a pretty interesting project. The Fish Passage project, completed in the existing flood control channel between Arriaga and Canna Perdido Street, provides conditions for the migration of steelhead trout, an endangered species. The majority of the funding was provided by grants from the California Department of Fish and Game. And what's really interesting is that this all was modeled to show that the fish can pass and not impair any of the height of the existing flood carrying capacity of the existing channel. And here we have weirs that were installed to provide some roughness to the water so the fish can pass. And I like to call these little fish motels so that the fish have a place to stop and rest as they go up the creek. I'm not sure if Creeks Division would appreciate that, but we'll find out. There are currently 15 construction contracts in progress at an estimated value of over $19 million. Again, there's an attachment in the Council General Report, Attachment 4, which summarizes the distribution of work between city funds and between the city funds. I'll be featuring 5 projects in today's presentation. Also on the city's website at santabarbara.gov in the Public Works Department, we have info regarding other capital improvement projects for detail and review. We just recently had a ribbon cutting for this. This is a picture of the grant-funded Chapala Bridge replacement, which was just recently completed, a little bit ahead of schedule. The work started in June. Its design was coordinated with the future Mission Creek Flood Control Project, which is a culvert that will be over here on the east side. And once that culvert is completed, we'll finish the curb and gutter construction here, and also provides for undergrounding of utilities. I believe it includes the removal of this pole. Here's an overhead of the grant-funded Punta Gorda Bridge, and this little bad boy right here was originally a pole in the middle of the creek. It was a significant amount of work, and Edison ran into some construction difficulties, and because of that, it delayed the start of construction, so we ran out of time to complete the bridge. So we had to winterize the site, and we're planning to come back this summer to complete the bridge. This is the pavement maintenance project, consisted of repairing local distresses and resealing roadways throughout the city. It encompassed work throughout the town, including State Street, Garden Street, and De La Vina Street. Also covered a significant portion of Alameda Padre Serra and Alston Road. And in fact, the last punch list on the project was this completed. Also, an element of this project which got some positive publicity was the restriping of Haley Street, which provides a new bike lane all the way from Chapala to just past Milpas Street.
Mr. Kelly, are you hearing good things about that? Because I am. A lot of the bike people are just loving that Haley Street bike corridor now.
Yeah, I used it the other day, and it was very comfortable. It was very nice. I think the Bike Coalition wrote a very nice letter to the mayor or to the council.
Good. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, our new it's a collaborative effort between transportation planning and our traffic engineer, and always looking at opportunities like that. Waterline construction is underway to replace over almost 2.5 miles of potable water line at various locations throughout the city. It included work already completed included a pilot project to rehabilitate 4 blocks of water line using a new 3M company spray-on liner as a pilot project to explore ways to minimize the impact of waterline construction, because you can see, the traffic detour, et cetera. So this was much like we do for our sewer lining. It was an idea that we try to line the water line from the interior to minimize the inconvenience to the motorists of the necessary infrastructure improvements. This project is scheduled to be completed in the next several months. And this is another project we had a recent ribbon cutting on, and it's a grant-funded project to place approximately 85,000 square feet of permeable concrete pavers in 4 parking lots throughout the city. The construction is designed to capture and treat rainfall and the runoff from the rainfall, which demonstrates one of the best management practices, or BMPs, to meet the city's stormwater management program requirements. And I believe...
Mr. Kelly, we have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Rouse.
Thank you, Ms. Mario. Mr. Kelly, the funding for that project, was that all Measure B, or was that mixed in with some grant funding as well?
I think it was mostly grant funded.
Mostly grant funded?
Yes. Creeks
Wonderful.
is amazingly successful getting these, and I think one of the reasons is the coordination between Creeks and Public Works to get these projects out and show that we can deliver the projects, because they are not as easy as they look.
Yeah.
Like most everything. Next, go over a summary of our design projects. We currently have 36 projects in design, estimated at a value over $110 million. Be featuring 9. Our projects, these projects can also be found on the Public Works webpage. The Cabrillo Boulevard project. We're making good progress on this. The final design has been completed, and we're awaiting confirmation from Caltrans that the construction can remain on schedule in September. We're meeting all the milestones that Caltrans has set for us, and so we believe that we'll be able to stay on that schedule.
Mr. Kelly, you're saying construction's going to start in September of this year?
Yes.
I've heard some concerns from some of the artists in the Sunday art show. Does your department have public meetings to let people know, or how do you let the businesses and other stakeholders in the area know what's happening and how they'll be affected during construction?
Well, as you know, this project has been designed for some time, and so we've been meeting with them for some time, including the artists as well as the Stearns Wharf merchants and other merchants in the area. So we're all anxious just to get this thing started and built. And the beauty of starting and the focus and our push to start this fall in particular is that it will the completion of the work, which will be about 2 years, will coincide with the completion of the completion of the Entrada project.
So there were different factors that were impacting that.
The biggest factor is, some vagaries of the statewide funding and federal funding formulas, et cetera. But we believe, like I noted earlier, that we're meeting those requirements. And we definitely want to press to get this done. And we have recently completed our right-of-way acquisition efforts, which you're familiar with, which was a big issue to resolve. And now we're just waiting for confirmation from Caltrans.
Thank you.
Another project in the area is the Mason Street Bridge, and it also is planned to start in September and take a little over a year and a half, 2 years. It will be designed such that one of the first items of work will be to relocate Kimberly over here so we can widen the bridge. This building at 15 West Mason Street will be gone. However, it'll be replaced with a widened channel that, of course, to help the flood control or reduce probabilities of flooding. And what's left over, which is a little triangular piece here, will be what we call an expanded habitat zone, which goes all the way back to the conception of the Lower Mission Creek project that we've worked closely with Creeks to design and HLC's approval. Another bridge will be starting but it'll be starting next fall, and that's the Coda Street replacement project. And this is also tied in with the Lower Mission Creek project. Then I'm going to two more bridges that are just starting design, the De La Guerra and then in a minute Gutierrez. And we've had neighborhood meetings and initial design review meetings, and we are planning to have future meetings to confirm the design and get the consensus from all interested parties. Based on the input received and conceptual designs that have been prepared, we're on target for construction in spring of 2016. And as I noted, the Gutierrez Bridge is on the same schedule. This is parking lot number 3, and it recently, and it is to do some American with Disabilities improvements, improve disability access there. That's a long-term project that the Parking Fund has been doing to improve handicap access or disability access throughout all the city's parking lots. And it has received the HLC approval recently and is planning to go out to bid in the very near future. And here is a long-anticipated project. It's the West Downtown Lighting Phase 2. This was just recently funded by the city, about $1.3 million. And this part of the city, between Haley down to the freeway in Chapala, was funded several years ago by the Redevelopment Agency. And so now we're finishing this neighborhood between Haley and Ortega with the same pedestrian lighting, et cetera. Haley, of course, is a pedestrian corridor with pedestrian lighting. And here's a picture on Bass Street we photoshopped in one of the headlights. This is a future highway safety improvement project where the city has been quite successful in getting these grants and continue to look for more. In this particular case, we were awarded safety grant for 5 intersections at State Street, at Calle, Colorado, State at Islay, State at Pedregosa, Cabrillo at Anacapa, and Cabrillo at Corona del Mar, for the installation of very similar designs that we've installed on Milpas at Ortega recently, and then also at other locations down Cabrillo. And this construction has started slated to start in late 2014.
Mr. Kelly, if I may, the final configuration of that particular crosswalk, when you said like the Milpas improvements, do you mean pedestrian refuge islands, that type of thing, flashers?
Yeah,
So-
yes, and appropriately design curb extensions and pedestrian refuge.
And will
Flashers.
that happen concurrently with the bridge project, or how's that timing work?
The timing will work, and this is a lot of coordination with Caltrans. We'll be able to build for all but the Cabrillo and Anacapa intersection. And then once the bridge is built, then we'll come back and build what's planned now, the Anacapa intersection. Because we have to have, because we're closing half of Cabrillo to build the bridge, maintaining one lane in each direction. If we put in permanent curb extensions at Anacapa, it will complicate the temporary traffic control. So we'll do the majority of the project, get permission from Caltrans to delay the Anacapa project, and then come back and finish the Anacapa project, is the plan.
Right, thank you.
All right, this is the tertiary filtration replacement. This is the technology from many years ago for the city's first reclaimed water project. And the tertiary filtration building will be replaced with a complete new system. And that item will be coming before the council in the very near future. This will replace the existing filter complex for the discharge water, taking the discharge water from El Estero. Instead of discharging it into the ocean, it'll go through the tertiary treatment and become reclaimed water, which is replacement irrigation water. The new system will provide improved, reliable recycling water, plus allow more efficient operations and maintenance. Construction is slated to start later this, prior to summer, and is anticipated to take approximately 1 year. So here is a summary of a graphic illustration of the amount of capital construction between all the funds. For this first 2 quarters, most of it was in the water fund, in particular, like I noted, the Cater project. And then a significant amount of all that was grants. And much of that was the Creeks project. And then other little slivers so you can see the cities leveraging our capital very well. And here's a little historical graph of our completed capital projects last year. You may remember I came back, and a lot of this was because the airport terminal, we were close to $100 million. This year, we expect to complete almost up to $60 million. And to wrap it up, we have a video.
The bridges over Lower Mission Creek were originally built at a time when the car and the carriage were kings, and pedestrians and bicyclists weren't even an afterthought. When the city began replacing these century-old bridges in 2009, it made sure that all modes of transportation were addressed.
The bridges they're replacing are close to 100 years old, and they were designed to the standard of the time. Our new bridges will be designed to the current standard, which includes better pedestrian capacity, more bicycle capacity, and also to meet our discretionary review board's aesthetics, which I think can be reflected on the bridge that we're sitting on right now, has certainly the Santa Barbara flair for aesthetics.
The most recent replacement project to be completed is the Chapala Street Bridge. Not only is this new bridge stronger structurally, safer for all users, and aesthetically pleasing, it also accommodates the neighborhood.
In terms of pedestrian improvements, this bridge, it directs the pedestrians where they need to go. The old bridge didn't have sidewalks, and it was confusing, and so this bridge enhances that walkability of the neighborhood. We've also added street lighting, which helps at night, and as well as a couple little landscape areas.
The bridges are also being completed in coordination with the Lower Mission Creek Flood Control Project, which aims to improve flood conditions and capacity during heavy rain events.
In 1995, we had the flood of record, which we were under a fair depth of water right here. And what a lot of people don't remember also is that in 98 and 2005, this area was also flooded. The existing channel has a capacity of about an 8-year event. So with the channel and the new bridges, we'll have a capacity somewhere between a 20 and 25-year event. So the probability of flooding will be significantly reduced by all these bridges.
The primary improvement for habitat is opening up the creek. Like I said, the old Chapala Street right-of-way, the city wasn't using that space of the bridge, and so we removed that footprint of the bridge and opened up for views for the creek for people, as well as for the habitat for sunlight, for plants to grow and fish to thrive.
The next bridges up for replacement are the Mason Street and Cabrillo Boulevard bridges.
This project is another piece of the puzzle for the Lower Mission Creek project. It encompasses actually realigning Kimberly Street to widen the creek and then the replacement of the bridge. And then we'll also be doing another small piece of channel wall for the county of Santa Barbara as part of the project.
Being on such a busy thoroughfare, the Cabrillo Boulevard Bridge has been reconfigured 3 times before, with the last work being done in 1984. Construction activities and road closures are being coordinated to minimize neighborhood disruption, but some impacts will occur.
You know, construction's never easy, and a bridge construction is complicated, it's noisy, it can get dusty, and so I really want to appreciate and thank the local neighbors and businesses of the area, and even the people who need to get around. The streets were closed for a while. It was disruptive. I'm very pleased that all the team that came together was able to complete the bridge a month ahead of schedule, so that really helped, I think, in the neighborhood impacts, and I hope they feel that the end product is much better off than where we started.
Thank you very much, and again, thank you to City TV crew. They always do an excellent job.
It was very good. Thank you. Do we have questions for Mr. Kelly? Everybody's happy with your work, it seems like, and no members of the public have anything to say. Do we need a vote, Mr. Armstrong? We're happy to receive your report, Mr. Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council.